Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're talking all about the WWE's Money in the Bank 2016 coming up right around the corner on Sunday. This is looking like it's going to be a jam-packed, really nice show. Of course, I think Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, those old Shield brothers are going to go out there. I know that when you think about the FCW rivalry that these guys had, a lot of people think about Ambrose and Rollins putting the FCW on the map to where a lot of people would come to it. But I think that these guys rode together so much that they're going to want to go out there and make sure that they really knock it out of the park. I'm not 100% sure if this is the first time that Roman and Rollins have had a one-on-one match. I know that they tried to put this match together on pay-per-view twice. Once at I think it was Night of Champions, and then Roman Reigns had the hernia injury, and then, of course, Seth Rollins having the knee injury before Survivor Series last year. But it's going to be one hell of a thing. And, of course, AJ Styles going up against John Cena. There was a little bit of controversy. Some people were upset that they actually had a tag team match. That was a dark match after Monday Night Raw. Honestly, I think that most people are always going to remember AJ versus John Cena happening at Money in the Bank being their first match. There's no doubt in my mind that they'll have some sort of a house show match encounter. I don't think these guys are going to fly to the Performance Center in order to get into a ring to see what they can do against each other. I think that they're going to figure it out in front of a live crowd. And them having these interactions in a ring before Money in the Bank is only going to make the Money in the Bank match stronger, and I think it's going to really knock it out of the park. But when it comes to Money in the Bank, you think about Money in the Bank, and that is the Money in the Bank briefcase ladder match, which is jam-packed with 6 dudes. Right now, you've got Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho, and Alberto Del Rio in there. A few weeks ago, it was going to be 7 competitors. They added 6 into it, and then mysteriously, from SmackDown until Monday Night Raw, they changed the graphic, and no longer were you looking to see who was going to be the 7th man. I remember there was some controversy because AJ Styles had lost his qualifying match to Kevin Owens, which was a really good match to main event Monday Night Raw, where Kevin Owens beat AJ Styles clean. And I thought maybe, they would give him another shot. Of course, Sheamus, he lost his opening match, then he attacked Apollo Crews. And even though a lot of people thought at the time they were setting up a Sheamus versus Apollo Crews match for Money in the Bank, because, with so many competitors being involved in one match, you have to have sort of a soft undercard to be able to have a 3-hour show. We thought that maybe, they would do Sheamus versus AJ Styles, last chance, make sure you get in. I remember Sheamus's words was that he was going to make sure that he qualified, and he never even got another shot in order to get in there. So I think just somewhere plans changed along the way, and Sheamus didn't have to lose another match. And you can sort of tell that, because even though we thought weeks ago they were going to do Sheamus versus Apollo Crews, they didn't end up putting that match together until Monday this week. So that set as a dead program for nothing. And then Apollo Crews came running down to the ring a lot like, Charles Robinson back in the day at WrestleMania to make the save. And all of a sudden now we get the match again. But I don't know. You look at this match. I mean, obviously, Chris Jericho was a guy that was standing tall at the end of Monday Night Raw. I don't really think he has a shot to win this. It just is what it is. And honestly, I like Chris Jericho. I like him a lot. One of my buddies, Above Average Muda, had a tweet maybe it was probably might even have been about a month ago. He feels sorry for the new wrestling fans that see Chris Jericho wrestling today that didn't get a chance to see him wrestle back in the days when he was in WCW. And they look at him probably a lot like how people looked at Ric Flair in the late 90s, who didn't have the chance to see the brilliance of Ric Flair when he was wrestling against Dusty Rhodes, or when he was wrestling against Harley Race back in the 70s and the 80s with the early Starcades and things like that. Not knowing how great of a wrestler this guy once was, and it was sort of living off his reputation from back in the day. I don't think Jericho really has a shot to do it. I like Jericho a lot, but I just haven't really felt this run that he's been on. I know when he was a babyface, I kept saying, he's going to turn heel, and then he's going to find that magic, and he turned heel. I really wasn't feeling the AJ Styles feud, and I'm not really feeling this feud that he's in right now, going after the Money in the Bank. I don't really think he has a shot. Hopefully, his mind can add something to this match to really help it out, the birth child of the Money in the Bank match from way back in the day at WrestleMania 21, coming up with the idea. From there, Alberto Del Rio, man, his whole run right now is a lot like Chris Jericho's. He really hasn't really found anything. A lot of people, it was reported that he was coming back to WWE after his leave of absence when he left to go to AAA and Lucha Underground. He had signed a big money deal, and it's almost like WWE signed him to that big money deal, and they don't really know what to do with him. You can tell that Del Rio is doing everything that he can do in order to get in and get over. His look on Monday, you can tell that he had lost a lot of weight. He's looking really ripped, really buff. Hopefully they can find something. I think that when they do the brand split and they have those two titles, even though when Alberto Del Rio was World Heavyweight Champion, he didn't add a whole lot to SmackDown. He wasn't really a big time leader of the brand. I think that's when Del Rio's stock is going to go up, and you'll see him in the world title hunt again. But it's just not going to happen now. Sami Zayn, I don't think this guy's going to win on pay-per-view for a long time. You can sort of see that they're trying to go with a, what am I trying to say? They're just trying to make him into the next Daniel Bryan, where, he lost and lost and lost, and people liked him, and all of a sudden, out of the middle of nowhere, he'll be the number one contender, and then the storyline will be him going after the championship, and then, of course, they'll want to pull it away from him because they think he's a loser geek, and it is what it is. From there, we go to the three favorites in the match, Dean Ambrose, Cesaro, and Kevin Owens. Dean Ambrose on Monday Night Raw brought up the fact that, basically he could turn the main event into a Shield three-way by him winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then taking the briefcase and cashing in on Seth Rollins, even attacking his brother-in-arms, Roman Reigns, which they've done that before. But it still is shocking to see it. Ambrose is the guy that, I brought it up when I was talking about the Shield reunion, He came in, he basically was the leader of the group. He had a good time following from his days in the Indies, and a lot of people thought that Ambrose was going to be the guy who turned on the Shield, making Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins be the outsiders. And then when Seth Rollins did it and joined the Authority, that was a huge, big-time shock, and I think that really was a jump to WWE at the time, and they made the right decision. Since then, we've sort of been waiting for Ambrose to turn on Roman Reigns for a while. We thought it was going to happen earlier in the year. We thought it was going to happen after WrestleMania. It still hasn't happened yet. It could be the birth child of a Dean Ambrose versus Roman Reigns feud of him having the Money in the Bank. I really just don't see it. And Cesaro is a guy that we've been rooting for since WrestleMania 30. For 2 years, the fans have been behind this guy. He's done his time as a tag team competitor. He went single. He went back to being a tag team guy. He got injured, and now here he is being a singles guy again. And I'm really hoping with the new era of the WWE, Cesaro is on the short list of guys in order to get their comeuppance and become a faction, a part of WWE, that you can be a guy going after this. Like I brought up with Del Rio, the brand split is going to be a big time help to Cesaro. Getting onto his show with less guys and less guys that are over. Cesaro is a guy that sells a lot of shirts. He has a lot of fans, and those are the things that pushes you to the top. And he's been there. He's got great work. And I think he's right there on it, but he's just not there yet for some reason. People were up in arms when Vince McMahon did the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast, and Stone Cold brought up Cesaro, and basically, Vince said that, Cesaro wasn't ready to grab that brass ring, and then since then, even WWE.com has had, photo shoots with Cesaro holding the brass ring, basically saying that this guy's ready, it's his time, and they'll figure it out. He's a great talent. He's been a great talent since he's been there. Remember how fast he flew through FCW to get the jump up on the main roster. So you can tell that there are people there that really like him. But my pick is, I think, everybody's pick, and that is Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, since debuting in WWE at Elimination Chamber, beating John Cena, which was just a little bit over a year ago. Honestly, that was a big match, and I think from there, I can't remember if Cena beat Owens on the next 2 pay-per-views or if he even beat him on the next 3. Even though Owens is the 2-time Intercontinental Champion, he did WrestleMania in the ladder match. He's done some things here and there. I don't think Kevin Owens really has been able to capitalize on that win off of John Cena yet. He needs to be able to be moved up the card. This is a guy who definitely should be in the world title hunt, whether if it's on Raw, whether if it's on SmackDown, even if they only had one title. like they do right now, I think that Kevin Owens should be a guy that should be in the title competition. He is a guy that is liked. He is a heel. He is a guy that is hated. And I think the world of this guy. I thought the world of this guy for a long time. I don't want to put the moniker on him that we've been looking for a long time, saying that he's the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I think if this guy was a babyface, he is a guy that the fans would, draw off of, basically thinking that he is one of us. The biggest knock on Kevin Owens from a lot of people is that he has just a normal guy's body. But this guy's a fighter. He's a scrapper. And I think that, he is one of the best that's been there. He flew through the Indies. He flew through Ring of Honor. He flew through FCW and NXT. And I think that he is the future of wrestling. And I think that he is one of the best ones out there. A lot of people are picking him. I'm picking him. I think Kevin Owens is Mr. Money in the Bank.